Hey y'all, it's Brandon with Voodoo Forge. Log dogs are used in timber framing, building log cabins, hewing logs, all kinds of things. Let's make a couple of sets. So, all the way. Now I'm not gonna hit the... Alright, so here's the deal. I'm making these for another YouTube channel. These are going to be used and used hard. They're going to be heading out to Alaska when I'm done with them. But let's get on this. Get a couple of different kind of log dogs here, a couple of different construction methods. So I've got some 32-inch long, half-inch square material, and then this is scrap or reclaimed material. This is 24-inch, half-inch, and then 4 pieces of 5-inch. First thing we got to do is a little forging, so let's get going. It's warming up. So the first thing we're doing is we've got to put tapers on each end of the material on the traditionally forged ones. That don't get any wider than the material, and they have to be perpendicular to each other. So, kind of like the taper you would put on a hot cut. See the direction we're going. One more heat on that one. Now for the other two sides of this, we're going to do this, but we're going to do them perpendicular to these. So 90-degree difference. These run horizontally, the ones on the other side will run vertically. So bending square material and getting a 90-degree corner isn't as straightforward as it sounds. When you bend the material, the way, like if we were to just bend it over the anvil, it would stretch the material, and so you wouldn't have a sharp square corner. You can make it sharp and square by hammering it both ways, but you're thinning it and taking material away. So there's a couple of ways to do this. One of them is to upset the material where you're going to bend it first. Now to do that, I would heat this spot. Like if I was going to put my bend here, I would heat this spot, have this cool, and drive the material in on itself, and that would thicken that. That's upsetting. There's another way that I just learned, and that's the way I'm going to do it. So I'm going to show you this. Taking our material, hanging what I think looks like a good amount across. Keeping it square. Bending it all the way on in. Now, when we do this, it's upset in the middle. If you can see in the middle of the bend. You know what? I'll let this cool off so you can see it better. So if you look at the bend here, you see that little fat part around the inside of the bend. We're gonna, that's upset. That was upset, but only there. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna heat this up, and we're gonna take the cross peen of our hammer, and we're gonna drive that back out into the bend, and then we're gonna, well, let's just get to that point first. So first we're gonna drive that back out into the bend. That's what's happening in this next step. So the fat part's going that way. And so here we go, cross peen. That area is thicker than the rest of it, but it has the same thickness, so we've driven that in there. So on our next heat, we're going to start creating the corner for this bend. Now how we're creating the corner is hitting down at an angle, flipping it, and we are literally creating what is going to become the corner when we open this back up. Now, one of the keys to this is keep it on the anvil. If you slide this too far forward, you're liable to make a lip on there, and that'll mess the whole thing up. Ask me how I know. Now, this is one of those things I don't get in too much of a hurry, because if I do, I go to messing stuff up. So be patient. See how our corner's starting to get shaped here? This will be the point of our corner. Everything's straight. That's given us plenty of beef in there. See how much wider it is on the ends now? And we've got our corner nice and shaped. So now we can open it up and get it to our actual 90. So we're going to start just grabbing it and actually opening her up a little. I'm going to stick her back in. Now I'm not going to hit the sharp part of the corner that I made. It's a good start. We're going to put some more heat on it and dress this some more. Just got to do that 3 more times. And we're good to go. This is the difference that all that makes. If you just bend it over the anvil, you get a bend like that. There's no corner up top. You can't hit it and drive it. You're always hitting, and if you're trying to drive this into something, the force is going somewhere other than straight down. So that's why it's important on this project to have nice, sharp corners. Now we'll start on the second set. Okay. Completely different route with this bunch. This is, of course, way quicker. long ends of our fabricated log dogs in because it is recycled material. It's got paint and rust, and this will just help clean it up a little bit. Alright, well that forging was easy, and since we have a nearly professional welder, we're going to let her do the welding on this. Okay, so this is easy enough. They're going to be perpendicular, and they're going to be ½ inch proud of the bar. We can use a piece of the material. Move that. We can use a piece of the material as a spacer, and then Jewel is just going to MIG it. Hey Joel.
What?
What's your favorite part about being a blue-collar worker?
Oh, getting to enjoy all the seasons.
And all the weather they have to offer.
Oh yeah. Sorry, that was the sweat in my eyeball.
Thank you, Joel. Joel's welds on these look real good. And at least on the fabricated ones, I believe I'm going to paint them. That's not necessarily that I want to paint them, but things I've learned the hard way is tools that I use in the woods, and a lot of the ones I use in my shop shouldn't be the same color as the woods or the floor in my shop. That's how I lose them. Alright, well there they are. I painted them with this. I have had this spray paint for years. I use this to paint things that are going in the woods with me. Chainsaw file handles, scrinches, stuff like that. I've had this so long. Look at the top on that. I hate the color. I hate it. I can't stand it, but by God, you're not gonna lose it. So that's it. That's our two different styles. I don't know which will perform better, but I guess we will hear back from Alaska when we hear back. All right, y'all, that's about all there is to making these. Now, I'll tell you what I think so far, having made these. If I had to make some to use around here where I have a shop with a welder, this is the style I would make all day, every day. And I'll tell you why, it's just minimal time forging this out, and you don't even have to be able to forge. You can just grind this to a point and weld it. If it breaks, you know, I've got a welder close by, so it's easy to fix. So ease of production, I like this style. Now, if I was 100 miles from a shop, I would prefer this style, and I'll tell you why. This is going to bend, not break, and you can always bend it back. You can use a sledgehammer for an anvil, something like that. So this, I think, would be easier to repair in the field than this, but this is easier to produce. Now, another thing, I've seen a lot of people who make log dogs out of high carbon steel and then harden and temper them. And man, this just ain't that kind of tool. It doesn't have to be high carbon steel. I'm not knocking you if that's the way you do it, but that's just not necessary. Now, if you did this style, you could make these out of high carbon steel and then weld it to a medium or a mild steel, and that might work out for you. But this is a lot of high carbon steel for something that doesn't need to be made out of high carbon steel. And plus, then there's also the bend factor. I can see these getting bent, and if you bend them, you want it to be easy to fix. So anyway, we'll see what they think of them. What do y'all think of them? Let me know. And how hot is it wherever you're at? Because it's hotter than a 7th level of hell here in Tennessee. Anyway, I hope y'all got something out of this, and y'all behave yourselves.